What's up, everyone? I have a simple question for you this evening. Will Uncle Musk be sending you a 5K check? I do not think so, per se, but we'll see. Sorry, technical difficulties. What is going on? There we go. So, will Uncle Elon be sending you a 5K check? Now, an easy idea about this is not a stimulus check because I know a lot of people are really confused on what kind of checks we'll be receiving. What are they for? This is not a stimulus check. This is a dividend check. I'll go over that more as I go through, but think about it. If you ever play Monopoly, do you remember the chance card that said, you received a dividend? Here's your X, I think it was $150. That's what we're talking about. Now, if you look on my Instagram, I actually just reposted a video that I did where I was remixing somebody else's thing. We talked about the taxes you pay, especially if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business person, you know exactly what I'm talking about. What do you pay taxes on? You pay taxes on your income. You pay taxes on your employee's income. You pay taxes on your car. You pay taxes on your house. You pay taxes on the money you make after you pay taxes on it when you make money in the stock market or in something else. So we pay taxes on pretty much everything right now, which if you saw what Governor Ron DeSantis said in Florida, because I'm in Florida, he said today that he's actually thinking about getting rid of the real estate tax because he doesn't see why you're taxed on a house after you buy it. Amazing, right? Now, let's look at DOGE. And I love looking at everything through a fitness lens. That was my life for a long time. So any fitness people I got on here, you guys should connect with this easy. You think about it from a fitness lens, it's very simple. DOGE is your accountability partner. I know a lot of people don't like DOGE. I don't care your feelings, whether it's good or bad. I'm looking at how is it actually being utilized right now, is how is it impacting us? I'm not looking at any of this from an emotional standpoint. It's happening. I can't change it. If you can change it, great, but I can't change it. So I'm saying, okay, how can I pivot? How can I adapt? How can I move forward as this is happening? So DOGE being your accountability partner is tracking your macros for you. It's checking your workouts. It's checking your rest time, your sleep. Are you getting too much? Are you getting too little? And a lot of people, they're like, I can't figure out why I can't lose weight. And then you check their macros and they're eating 2,000 calories too much. Well, from what DOGE is saying, and I'm just quoting what I'm hearing, from what DOGE is saying, there's way too much money being wasted, whether it be at the government level, whether it be here in the state, because obviously Ron DeSantis came out today and said that he's looking at actually creating a Florida DOGE because he wants to know how much money is also being wasted here. I believe there's a lot of money, whether it be through the construction, whether it be through the schools, you name it. I think there is a lot of waste. And I think this is for the good because we're going to find out who's working. They say when the tide, what was that quote, where the tide goes out and you find out who's swimming naked. I agree with Kevin O'Leary that it's time that we really find out who's putting in the effort and who's just mailing it in, but they're getting their checks. How many people are getting fake Social Security checks? So I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole. But the other part about this, and this is the part that I love, when the stimulus checks went out during the pandemic, I know some people needed them, but those stimulus checks didn't come out from a standpoint of here's the one that you need it today. You've earned this. No, it was, we're going to just give it. And there was a lot of people that received those stimulus checks that didn't necessarily need them. And there was a lot of people that got those stimulus checks that wasted them. We'll talk more about that. But this is a dividend because it's only going to individuals that are taxpayers. And I say individuals because if you're a couple and you filed jointly, you're not getting two checks, you're getting one. If you're an individual that did not file their taxes, guess what? You're not getting a check at all. So this is only going to those individuals that earned it. And there's a lot of different breakdowns. Is it going to be based on how much you paid and you're going to get a percentage back? Is it going to be the same amount for everybody? I can't get into that because I have no idea what they're thinking. I'm trying to give you guys the most basic breakdown because I've had a lot of people asking me, are we getting DOGE checks and how much? Now, before we get to that, and I heard somebody ask this, it was a great first question. Are we just going to use this money to pay off the national debt? We have a massive national debt. Well, one part of that is Musk has come out and said that the national debt is not necessarily as high as we thought it was because they're realizing that we don't need to be paying as much money as we are. So it's not actually as high as we thought it was. It's not that $36 trillion, which is a crazy amount of money. And yes, if they send you a stimulus check, and this is not financial advice, Anything that I go over on this channel is not specific financial advice for you. If you'd like to sit down and see if there's a way for me to help you, for one of my agents to assist you, happy to have that conversation. This is my disclaimer. But if you think about it from what about the national debt standpoint, just like somebody that gets a bonus, they should use that to either invest and make more money so then they can pay off their debt in a safe way, not gambling. In a safe way, don't go to the casino and throw it on black. Don't invest in something like Pepe and say, hopefully it's going to the moon. Make a smart investment. Or they should just pay off their debt if they do not know how to grow that money. That's why you hire somebody to teach you. Now, the other part of the national debt is we have a gentleman in office right now, love him or hate him, he's in office. We just had a different president for 4 years. He was still my president. I'm still an American. We have a new gentleman for the next 4 years. And he said, drill, baby, drill. So with drill, baby, drill, we are potentially, and actually right now on paper, we're the #1 exporter of oil. So when that pipeline opens up, we can actually use an extraction tax if it's done right, still have cheap enough oil where we're going to lower the cost of everything. You want inflation to come down, you want us to drill. Because oil is the #1 thing that's going to increase inflation across the board. It does not matter. Everything, plastics, delivery, heating your house, everything has to do with oil or something of that nature right now. So we need to bring the cost down to bring inflation down. So if we were to put an extraction tax on oil, that could actually help pay off our debts for us so we don't have to increase taxes. And even I think that if they don't do something like that, we're going to increase taxes. Question number 2. Could DOGE, could all this cutting, et cetera, cause a recession? Now, the only way that I see that happening, or actually could the checks going out cause could this checks going out cause whether it be a recession or could it cause inflation? 2 questions that I've gotten. The first part, could it cause a recession? The only argument that I've heard, it was very funny. The only argument I've heard about it causing a recession is that people cutting all the spending and finding out that people are getting 2 Social Security checks because they're still getting grandma's check and she's been passed away for 20 years. And then all that money is going to come out of the economy. That's silly, because that's all money that's being wasted that could be utilized to actually stimulate the economy in a positive way, not in honestly a reckless way. It would also lower the amount of taxes that people are paying. So then there's more money in each person's pocket. So if you know somebody that's committing fraud, which this is why I think that they're looking at doing it the way they're doing it, because if they create this as a dividend and people start turning in fraud, people start like actually telling the government, hey, these people are committing fraud and they're costing us a lot of money, because $2,000 a month doesn't sound like a lot, but 2,000 and you've got 2,000 people doing it, now it adds up really quick. So if you were able to cut that out, all of a sudden taxes can go down because there's not so much junk money that's being wasted, not so much money coming out of your pocket to go into somebody else's to waste it, but instead you get to use your money for what you need it for, whether it be for the family, whether it be for retirement, whether it be for investments, whatever you want to do. Now, the other side, the inflation side, well, think about how much money, and I'll let you Google it. Think about how much money was given to all the illegals that came into this country over the last 4 years. Free money just handed out to them. That didn't cause inflation. The root of inflation is not just a little bit of money here and here, because this isn't money that's being printed. This is money that's already been accounted for, and we're just redistributing it. So this would not. Now, the other part, could DOGE lower taxes? So could this $5,000 check not only go to you, but could it also lower taxes at the same time? Absolutely. I just mentioned this. If you think about the math behind it, if they were able to lower the cost of the country every year, then guess what? There's less money needed to be able to survive, to keep things going. If they also added that extraction tax, not only could DOGE help us lower the taxes on one side, but then doing the right thing as far as the oil on the other side, you could absolutely see lower taxes. Do I think it's going to happen right away? No, it's going to take a minute, because everything that's going to happen is going to take time. You want to go to the gym and lose weight, it's going to take a minute. You go work with the greatest coach. You could work with somebody that worked with a Phil Heath or, I just blanked on his name. The gentleman who's won Classic Physique years in a row, Chris Bumstead, a phenomenal physique. You could be working with their trainer. It doesn't matter, because it's going to take a minute for you to see the results to even start looking the way you want to, let alone trying to look like a Phil Heath or a Chris Bumstead. Now, if you break it down, and there's one really big point here, some people might not like hearing this tonight. That's okay. You'll get over it. Get a tissue. But it's not about what's going on in the White House. It's not about what's going on in the DOGE house. It's what's going on in your house. Because there's a lot of people that they're excited about this 5K check, but they're also freaked out about, am I going to lose my job? So let's hit the other side of this real quick. I want to just touch on this because do I think that there's a good chance you're going to get a check? I do think there is a check. It is not going to be tomorrow, so don't like quit your job because you're going to get $5,000. Do I think there's actually a chance that it's going to be more money? Yes, I do. Now, this depends on how far down you want to go and how much research you want to do. I highly recommend, with everything going around around the world. There's a lot going on right now. I don't think everybody realizes it, but you can't fix the Ukraine war. You can't fix what's going on at the White House if you don't like it. There's so many things you can't fix, but if you focus on your house and you get yourself in order, because if you're worried about your job being taken, what are you doing to make sure you're irreplaceable? What skill sets have you learned most recently to continue to make sure that your boss or the government or whoever it is knows that you're somebody they need to keep around? That's something I'm constantly focused on, and I run my own office. I'm always looking at, okay, how can I get better? What skill set do I need to improve on? So do I think you're going to get a check? I do think there are going to be checks coming out. I do not think it's going to be right away. Do I think that this is going to cause a recession? I do not think DOGE is going to cause a recession. If I was a gambling man, and if this is not my fiduciary hat, do I think that something's going to happen in the economy in the coming months? I absolutely do. I think everybody that is fully exposed and only diversified where they're in the markets, where they're fully exposed, I think they're going to lose a lot of money. This is not financial advice. I'm going to give that again. Do I think that taxes will be lowered? I think they will be lowered, but it's not going to be right away. So my recommendation, pay attention to what's happening. Don't listen to the emotional side. Pay attention to what's happening as far as are wars being ended? Is drilling starting? How much money are they saving? Pay attention to that. Pay attention to the warning indicators, such as like the Buffett index, which I'll be talking about soon. And then pay attention to what you're doing to make sure you're irreplaceable. Because if the market takes a hit tomorrow, are you okay? If your job was to lay you off tomorrow, how many months is your family good for? If there was, I already talked about the recession, if they were able to start lowering the national debt, what are you doing to make sure that you stay ahead and now you're using that money the right way? So yes, I think you've got a good chance of getting a check from Uncle Musk. Do I think it's right away? I do not. Do I think it's going to be higher than $5,000? I do. But the biggest thing is understanding that this is not a stimulus check. And I have heard even really smart people say that this is going to be a stimulus check. This is a dividend based on the amount of money that DOGE is going to be saving the country based on people wasting or frauding the system. That's not good. Those aren't things that we want. So guys, I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to hear your take. Please share this if you think people need to hear what's going on with these 5K checks and how it can impact them. But my biggest recommendation, and I'm going to talk about this a lot more next week, my biggest recommendation is make sure you're getting your house in order, because if what's coming, or what I believe is coming, whether that be layoffs, whether that be the market taking a hit, whether that be a lot of changes going on in the country, I highly recommend you're ready ahead of time. Don't wait until the train hits you to say, oh my goodness, I wish I had done something before. But thank you so much for tuning in. Please share this. Please subscribe. Hit like if you would, and I'll see you all next week.